Good evening, everybody. Tonight's project: how to wake up and or bring back to life a old laptop battery, or bring back to life or give some capacity back to one that has lost some of its overall capacity. So in this case, we have a laptop battery that was in storage and the voltage in it dropped too low. That's a laptop battery for an old Dell Inspiron, or was it Latitude? Inspiron, whatever, it's a Dell B120. It's old. This was manufactured in 2006. It's pretty worn out, but you know what? It works fine. I don't play games on it, and I can still watch Netflix fairly nice when I need to. I'm not going to be editing any video on it, but for a $300 laptop, or I should say for a laptop I paid $300 for back in 2006, and this being 2014, I would say I've gotten my money's worth out of it. So anyways, I had a spare battery that a friend gave me after he dropped his B120. We ordered two of them back in 2006. He dropped his, it kind of smashed to pieces. So I had this battery sitting in my drawer, my office for, it's been in there about 4 years now. I never even touched it since he got it back to me. Popped it in there and would not take a charge and showed zero capacity. Now the reason it did that, well, let's just discuss some of the cells that are in here. Most laptop batteries are made up using 18650 style lithium-ion cells. So in this case, there are 4 of them to make up the voltage for this pack. The more you add, the more overall capacity you get, obviously. Now you might notice there's room where 2 more could have been added, and if you noticed that, you would be correct in saying 2 more could have been added. So when you pay for a higher capacity battery from for a laptop, you know, the cheaper the battery is. You might notice, say when you're browsing around Dell's website, it'll say a 4-cell or a 6-cell or 8-cell battery pack. What they're talking about is how many of these 18650s are inside the battery pack for the laptop. In this case, it was a 4-cell rated at 29 watt-hours, a total voltage of 14.8 volts. Well, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Why would the laptop not charge this pack? Well, just like a Tesla car or any other lithium-based device that has more than one, definitely that has more than one cell, it has a battery management chip. And what this does is it monitors the cells. There's a temperature probe in here. It's a little hard to see. That one's buried fairly deep. Monitors the temperatures of the cells, make sure they don't get too hot, and if they do, it cuts power to them from either going in or coming out. It also makes sure each of the cells have the same voltage, so that way they're balanced and you get the most life out of that battery. Now, I've already started playing with this one a little bit to get a head start. Excuse me. But the reason now the laptop would not charge the battery was because due to sitting, they lost, some of the voltage bleeds off over time. And let's just show you. As you can see, this is rated at 3.27 volts. I've actually charged the cell up just a wee bit. Now, when I first opened this pack up and measured, each cell was about 3 volts. Usually a lithium-ion 18650 cell is considered severely drained to 0% usable capacity at about 3.2 volts. But if it drops below that, you can still bring them back up as long as you catch it before the voltage of that battery gets to a certain point. In this case, for these cells, I would not feel comfortable charging one that has dropped below 2 volts. If it's above 2 volts, you can try and bring it back to life, charging it at a fairly slow speed. In this case, I'll be charging them at 500 milliamps. At the full capacity, they would be charged to 4.2 volts. And if there's some wear in the batteries as well, you're going to see some voltage drop after a few days. Now, cells 2, 3, and 4 I've already charged up, and let's just see what kind of voltages we get. Yeah, these wired, kind of odd. This one's 14.4 volts after being fully charged. We have a 4.8 and a nothing. 4.15. So that's telling me this cell right here has lost a bit more capacity than the other two. Since I haven't charged this one yet, we don't know how bad that one is. I did these three about 5 days ago. So in terms of, is it a perfect cell like you just roll off the factory out of the manufacturer's machines? No, it has lost capacity. Do I think I can turn this into a usable laptop battery? Yeah, I think I could get at least some runtime out of it. It's an older laptop, and if you're just trying to something for the kids, or you don't move it around too often, 15 minutes to a half hour of battery life might be plenty for you. Ideally, I'd be happy just to get enough out of this battery where I could just unplug it. Say I'm in my office or doing something, I could unplug it and it'll stay on long enough for at least me to get to, say, the living room and plug it back in again. Because I'm not going to go spending $30 to $100 on a new battery for a laptop that was $300 new 8 years ago. Another thing that's doable is you can also remove the lithium cells and purchase at a much lower cost new ones and solder them back in, making sure everything's connected properly. Now you'll see all these extra wires. Not only is it connected from end to end, because all these are in a series, but each individual cell is connected positive, negative directly to this battery management board. That's part of how it balances and maintains each cell properly. Now, since of course, as usual, I'm doing everything on a budget, I have this nifty little battery charger over here, and yes, that is a roll of tape wedged in it. It's to keep my alligator clips plugged in. That charger is actually a special charger for charging 18650 cells, and will charge them up to their nominal voltage of 4.2 volts, which is considered fully charged maximum. You don't want to go above that, otherwise you will start destroying the chemistry inside the batteries. Not going to go into details at 2 a.m. here on that, but just you don't want to charge a lithium cell above 2 volts. Now, I did say don't charge a cell once it's dropped below 2 volts, and that's because you run the risk of damaging the cell, overheating it, can explode or catch on fire depending on the chemistry it uses. Plus, if it's below 2 volts, chances are that cell is junk regardless, and you will have very little or zero capacity left, even if you do manage to unsafely get the voltages and fully charge it. So just toss it and don't even bother. So what I did is because that charger is designed for charging a single individual cell like this, I used some alligator clip leads, positive and negative, clip them onto the charger, and I used the tape to keep this one on there, kind of a placeholder, because that specific charger had to be open so far before it would allow any power to flow. So what you want to do in this case is make sure you have positive and negative marked, and of course you can usually of course tell by the wires, but not dissing China at all, but they do not do the best job of color coding things properly. I've had battery packs where it was obvious what was positive without even testing it, yet they used a black on positive and red on negative, so it can throw you off. So it doesn't seem to matter what company it is. You know, they want to save money on manufacturing. By gosh, they'll save money on manufacturing. So this is negative down here, and that's positive up there. So I'm going to connect up the positive, and you can see the green light over on my chart. And I can't tell if you guys can or not, but okay, got that. The green light has now turned to red on the charger, which means it is now charging. Let's see if we got anything of what we got going on here. It's already showing some signs of increasing voltage. 3.4142 volts now. Not enough room to keep the leads on there. But this is going to take some time. It's charging, what are these rated at? They're not labeled for the actual amp capacity. I think I calculated these out to be about 2.5 amp hours each, I think it was. And of course charging speed tapers as the voltage increases. So this is all realistically it's going to take about 5 hours for this cell to be fully charged. And then once the battery, the reason the laptop would not charge it is once a battery drops below a certain voltage, the manufacturers have built in what's more or less a safety cutoff, where the laptop will not even attempt to charge it. And bringing the voltages up above that safety cutoff will then kick the laptop's management chip and saying, oh, all right, well, looks like everything's all hunky-dory again, so let's charge away. So realistically, you only have to get enough into the battery where the battery management system will take over and continue the charging. But due to how old this battery is and being stored for a while, I prefer just to fully charge. Just say I charge this battery up fully, 4.2 volts, and tomorrow it's back down to 3.2. Then I know that cell's worthless, and there's no point in even trying to put it back into a laptop. It won't do anything at all. Probably if I unplug it, I might get 15-20 seconds of runtime before that single cell is depleted, and that's it. It's done. Now, let me move that out of the way. I'll leave that charge. Next, also part of this whole little shindig here. This is a old Dell, what's it called? Dell Mini 9, solid state. Thing weighs about a pound and a half. No moving parts whatsoever. 1.6 gigahertz Intel Atom processor with hyper-thread, so a single core hyper-threaded. This one's got a 16 gig solid state drive, and I had gotten 5 of these, sold a couple of them, shipped one to my aunt in Florida. She needed a computer. She ended up never using it. Screen's too small, no big deal. So finally, when my grandparents went and visited my aunt in Florida, I said, well, if she's not using it, bring it back. This isn't the actual one. This is my own. And what happened was the solid-state drive failed on this one, and the battery actually ended up being junk on it. I used the crap out of it. I got these in, I think, end of 2008 or beginning of 2009, I think. And now for her, it pretty much, the whole laptop stayed in the box for about 4 years. She used it on and off for 2 years just to browse the internet for a few minutes here and there, but even now that she has a full-size computer, rarely uses it. So, I had solid-state drive and mine failed, so I just transferred that drive over to mine, reinstalled Windows, and the battery in mine was fried to the point where it needs all new cells. I mean, you can see my touchpad is worn through. That's how much I used this little bugger. Flashing red light there means there's a fault with the battery, and the battery in here is from hers as well. I was trying to keep hers as new as possible. That way I can put a new solid-state drive and either rebuild or rebuild the battery that was in it, and I'm trying to keep that one as new as possible so I can resell them, because they're actually going for more than what I paid for them. I paid 99 bucks for these brand new, shoot, the first couple I sold for like 400 bucks. Insane. Should have sold all of them and got a bigger laptop. Now, I'm just going to show you some. I'm going to zoom in here so I don't give anybody motion sickness. Alright, just some information. We have, this says 0%, and basically what this program does is it tells you what the battery management system, which is that little microchip board that you saw on the other one, it tells you what that chip is reporting as the capacity of the battery. Now, because this one sat for about 4 years, okay, just pretend the actual physical casing of the laptop is still hers, brand new. But like I said, I transported all that into mine. Her whole laptop sat brand new in the box, in a closet for 4 years. No charging, nothing. So basically, after 4 years, the voltage in the battery dropped down. It's now 9.232 volts. Can I brighten this up? Oh, yeah, that's better. Oh, much better. Hold on a second, I gotta take a sip of tea here. My throat's getting dry. So, let's see, where was I? So we have 9.232 volts. Count my handy calculator. And now, this is the let me zoom out again. This is the battery right here. The casing physically is much smaller than the other one I showed you. But as you could see on the other one, there was room for 2 more cells in that battery, so they could have increased the capacity of that battery quite a bit. Of course, it costs more. Instead of being a 29 watt-hour battery, probably would have been, what would that have been, about 55 to 60 watt-hours, somewhere around there, probably 59, something like that. But these laptops only were available with the 4-cell battery. which was no big deal because with the 4-cell battery on a completely solid-state computer, runtime, I think I got 9-10 hours out of them. The reason why mine failed so quickly, my battery, was because I never even used my AC adapter. I'd get up in the morning while I'm having my breakfast and coffee, I'd be browsing the internet, and I'd just close the top, take it to work. Never plugged it in at work, used it all day at work, closed the top, brought it home, plugged it in when I got home. It's a lot easier than transporting a power adapter everywhere. That's why mine failed. Mine, I physically did, due to cycle usage, wore out the batteries. But let's zoom back in at those voltages again. So, just like I was mentioning on the larger battery you saw before that was opened up, because the voltages dropped so low, the battery management system decided it will no longer charge the batteries. And not only that, the low voltages really threw off specs and calculations you can all see there. So, at 9.232 volts divided by 4 cells, that brings us to 2.308 volts per cell. Still above what I would call my normal safety margin. So, I'll disregard that. Nice little program called BatteryMon. So what I'm going to do with this battery, same thing I did with the other one. There we go. I will be opening up this 4-cell battery. I'm going to just go with a razor blade. You can use a saw, but you really don't want to damage those lithium cells, as when you do, they kind of go up in a nice ball of fire. So I'm just going to go real carefully with a razor blade and a box cutter holder, and just follow the seam of the battery and open that battery up. I won't be able to do that right now. I'll do that in the morning, but don't worry, I will merge the videos and we'll talk about what's inside here. Notice the shape's a little different. They ran out of room because this laptop, there's nothing to it. There we go, a nice big hole there now. 2 slots for memory here. Solid state drive is the size of a quarter, and that's it. There's nothing to these. It's amazing little laptop. So, earphone jack, microphone jack, USB port on this side, VGA, Ethernet. Other side, got a SD memory card slot, 2 more USB ports, power cord, and the security lock if you want to chain it up to a desk or something when you're staying at a hotel so cleaning ladies can't walk off with them. You know what? Battery weighs almost as much as the computer does. Amazing little things. Just a shame that the solid state drives that they'll put in them were so darn slow. It's actually so slow to the point where I'm going to be putting a 64 gig SD memory card, high-speed memory card in the slot here, and getting rid of the solid-state drive that came with it and just running Windows straight off that memory card. It's going to run probably 20 times faster. That was the whole bottleneck on these, which was what ended up killing the product was SD memory. The solid-state drives in were so darn slow. the rest of the computer is all just waiting for stuff to read. But in Dell's defense, it was designed for Ubuntu, not Windows XP originally, and Windows XP was a $10 upgrade, so I like Ubuntu, but for $10, Windows will do a lot more for me, a lot more I can run. So, I will be chopping that in the morning, and we'll be doing an amended video showing voltages and charging, and then the after work, as well as by morning this one will be charged up. I have a similar program, not the same but similar, in the big laptop. We'll pop this battery in and see what kind of capacity the computer will give us, if anything at all. It might work, it might be a goner and be done. And I actually popped this plastic off this one about a year ago, and I just never got around to it. Lost that plastic piece now, so I'm just going to put a piece of duct tape over it. Because once it's slid into the computer, this side is facing the computer, so which is just a flat sheet of plastic there anyways. No big deal, no harm, no loss. We're already up to 3.71. A little quicker than I was anticipating. Battery's still cold. And if you ever notice a battery getting hot or very warm, I'd say exceeding 100 degrees Fahrenheit while charging using this method, disconnect the charging power wires from any power source whatsoever, and take the battery immediately outside, place it on concrete away from anything else, or at least place it on a non-flammable surface away from anything that could be potentially ignited, and leave it sit at least overnight. If it's still warm in the morning, keep letting it sit until it's cool. Once it's cool, then properly dispose of that battery. It should not exceed 100 degrees when charging it at this low of a power. So that's it for tonight. I will update in the morning. We'll pop this one into the big laptop, and I'll have the little one open. We'll be popping that into the... we will be doing charging it up and popping it into the little laptop and see what kind of, if anything at all, capacity rating the laptop gives us. And final note for this evening is, even if you have a laptop battery that works, you could also attempt to do what I'm doing in order to regain capacity. Just manually balancing the cells. It's almost like force balancing each cell might help regain some of the capacity in that battery. The management systems on these little cards, microchips, are not very advanced, so you never know. As long as the battery's not past that point of no return where there's a danger factor in trying to charge it up, you're good to go. So see you guys in the... Holy crap, 29 minutes this video is already? I gotta get to bed. What time is it? 3 a.m.? Oh my god, son of a... Well, good morning. Charging is complete on this cell. 4.18. Actually finished about 4 a.m. No, 5 a.m. So I check it off and it seems to be holding alright. So next step. The old one out of... Huh. Yeah, I didn't think that out too well. I guess I was wrong with what I said. That would be nothing on the bottom. Oh well, let's see if it works anyways. starting. Plug it in. And I am getting a flashing battery light. So we'll have to see what that means once we're all loaded up here. I'm going to stop the camera as this thing takes forever to start up. Once it's started up, it's good to go. It's a kind of time for reinstall. Okay, now the flashing red light on the laptop, that was my mistake. I did not have it plugged in, and apparently the battery management chip thought that the battery was still dead, despite the voltage being up there. Now, here we're just looking at notebook hardware control program that also has battery information. You can see the voltages are at 192 millivolts, which would be 17.1 volts, which seems high, but whatever. It's probably due to part of the charging process. Anyways, if you look under capacity, it says 474 milliwatt hours. When I first loaded the program up, which was a few seconds after booting and right after I plugged it in, that was about 200 milliamp hours, or milliwatt hours. Now it's up to 488, and the program has crashed hourglass. Lovely. Full capacity, it currently thinks is up there. See, it just jumped up to 533 milliwatt hours. And full capacity it thinks is 2.664 watt hours, and the wear level is 91%. Now, as you notice, numbers are changing, voltages are changing, and it's going to take a little while, but what will eventually happen is brain fart, sorry guys. What's happening is the battery management chip that I showed you guys last night is going to be relearning the battery. It's going to be testing, see how much power it puts into it and how much power it's going to end up taking out under battery power, and recalculating, because all batteries are, it's not like looking at a gas tank on a car and realizing, oh yeah, it's empty, there's not much left. For batteries, it's a guess. It's always a guess. It can be an educated guess, but no matter, even if it's an educated guess, it's still a guess. So for the most part, how most of the management systems work is it measures how much power you're putting into the battery. So say you put in, that's a 32 watt hour battery. Here's my 29 watt hour battery. So if it measures that it dumped in let's say 20 watt hours into the battery, and then when you unplugged it, it was able to run for X amount of time, and you took 18 watt hours out of the battery before it rated it as dead, then the chip would realize that, oh, battery capacity must only be then 18 watt hours. The rest was lost as heat or dissipation in the cells. So I'm going to let this go, and I still haven't chopped open that other Mini 9 battery yet. Just too busy. One of my little guys was sick at school today, so I had to go pick him up, and that kind of threw off my whole schedule for the day. So I'm going to chop that open, and we'll revisit this one before I start doing the next one. But let's see, it's charging up. Let's just mark full capacity right now is 2.664 watt hours. So let's see what it is after it rates it as a full charge. Right now, It's charging it at 3.52 watts, and battery charge level is 27%. I wonder what advanced battery settings means. Nothing that'll help us. Ooh, what battery? Oh, battery lifetime. Never mind. I'd rather see percentages. So let's see, at 2 watts charging rate. I think we're going to be here a while, so we'll revisit. Well, here is the battery from the Mini 9. Due to the different method of connecting it up, they're using ribbon wire instead of traditional wire. I was not able to get a good point of contact, so I carefully pried the battery out of the casing, and because the electronics are tucked down here, I can't just pull those out without risking damaging this ribbon cable, which is very, very delicate and easy to slice through. So I carefully pulled the cells out hopefully without damaging anything. So now I can actually go through and test some voltages here. It's going to be... This is... Oh, you know what? It doesn't really matter. Since I'm not charging it, even though it shows negative, I'll still have the correct voltage. 1.35 volts there. This one is 1. Let's see the other side here. This one's 3.45. Wow, that one is super overcharged. Skip berry. What is this last one? .5. So we got 2 batteries that are extremely overcharged, and we have 2 batteries that are undercharged. Looks like Dell didn't do quite that well of a job on the whole battery management bit with this battery pack. And while normally I would not recommend attempting to charge batteries in that low of a voltage, I am going to do it anyways under extremely close supervision. So I'm only going to do it while I am within, a few feet while I'm watching. I'm sitting here working on a computer. Got my little office there, 3 monitors. This is my green screen room. And just playing with stuff. I like doing it on the floor here, a little more comfortable. So, let's see. So, well, at least all I need to know is I gotta charge these 2 cells that are up here. So, let's just verify positive and negative. I got that reversed. Okay, start with this one. Which one was the lowest one? So if I can't bring that lowest one up, there's no point in doing both of them. 1.35 and 9, or 0.99, so 1. Yeah, it is 1. Do that one. So it's gonna be tricky. Not much to clamp onto here. go. Charging has commenced. Now the important part when trying to charge a very low cell like this, if you hear any sizzling, try and get there we go. I want to monitor the voltage as we're going on this one. If you hear any sizzling, you take this sucker and you take that sucker and you throw it out the nearest window away from anything, and if it starts on fire, of course keep it supervised with a fire extinguisher on hand, but try and just let it burn itself out. Don't try and put it out. You're not going to be able to. Burning lithium cell outputs its own oxygen. It's called thermal runaway. Once it starts, it's not going to stop until it is done. Even toss it in a bucket of water isn't going to do anything. It'll still burn in the under the water, and even more violently possibly. So I will update you later. And I'm still letting the battery charge on the big laptop. I unplugged it, drained it down, and just restarted the computer, and it said now after I restarted it, now it can't find the battery at all. It doesn't see it anymore. It says no battery installed. So I'll have to figure something out. Probably have to restart it once more. So I'll let you guys know how that one turned out. Before that battery died, I did get a good 10 minutes of runtime on it. So we'll see what happens. Let her charge back up again. And yeah, as soon as that little ticker hit 0% for what the battery management system thought was dead, laptop shut off. So I'll update. Okay, we're back. So we have the Mini 9 battery fully charged. At least I brought each cell up to a reasonable charge. We're at cheap meters. Come on. Actually, that probably means my meter's battery's running low now. There we go. Switch wasn't all the way. So we got 3.84, 3.76, 4.13, and 3.63 volts. So looks like these cells might be junk. Seems that there's been some significant voltage drop. But let's pop it in and see what we got. It's kind of a neat view right there. Not turning on with that. Let's plug her in. Power light. And no boot. Oh, there we go. Now we're on. Looks like my battery light's still flashing. Now I've done this on other laptops before, and I did not have a problem, although they were older ones. My current batch of computers is finally starting to age. And we're waiting for this to fully start up. Now back to this bugger. I played around with it for a while. I charged, made in Japan. You know what? This battery was actually made by Sony. And this was around the time when Sony was having a lot of problems with batteries as well. that I actually charged and discharged this one about 9 or 10 times, maybe more. I lost exact count. But then finally, the computer actually stopped recognizing that this battery was installed, which leads me to believe that something with the battery management chip here kind of got screwy. So now the computer no longer recognizes this battery. I verified the voltages are holding fairly well, and even after the computer shut off, the computer thought there was about 2 point something amp hour. So what I'll end up doing is I'll probably just clip all these cells out of here. I'm not going to mess around with this. This laptop's getting really aged anyways. So I'm probably going to clip all these out and just use these as spare flashlight batteries for my 18650 style flashlight. I think in that case the same thing Tesla Model S uses. Well, just they use Panasonic, which are a much higher quality battery. So let's see what the Mini 9 says. Still says the battery is dead. Oh, what do we got here? Not too much. Voltage is correct. 15.313 volts. 314 went up. Computer says charging. Let's see. Your battery is operating normally. Battery status idle. It's not charging. It's not doing anything. Huh. I learned something new on the newer systems. Looks like I'd probably have to put a guess out that possibly once the management system of one of these batteries reads that there's capacity loss, it never adds to it. Could also be designed obsolescence. Like this one. I think this one could have chip might have sensed that, okay, voltages are done, we're done, this battery's no good anymore. Despite being recharged back up and the cells holding their voltage. They're all these cells, despite trying to do this video in 2 days, you know, giving some charging time, it's actually been almost a week since I started this video. And these cells, since the last time I charged them up, have been holding very well for 3-4 days now. No noticeable drops in voltage. So I'm thinking now that battery management chips in these cells are what's completely disabling. Let's refresh this again, see if we got anything going on. Look at that, we actually got some voltage going into them. Nice thing about this Mini 9 here is I can actually 3.84, 3.76, 4.14, and 3.63. New version of Java is ready to be installed. I hate Java. Whatever. I wonder if it's going to try and balance the cells first. Well, I'm going to leave this connected for a while. Battery light's still flashing on the computer. Let's just go over to my big laptop here. Now, this is the original battery in there right now. The original factory battery. I use it, you know, fairly regularly. I've drained it plenty of times. But as you can see, the chip's only reading a wear level of 39%. So even after 2006, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, or actually almost 14, so it'd be almost 8 years to the month. I think this one's wearing very well, and trust me, this laptop gets abused. I've actually replaced the motherboard once due to a power surge. Let out a little magic puff of smoke. But the nice thing about using an old laptop, refurbished motherboard for it was only 18 bucks. So rather than spend a couple hundred on a new one, I was able to repair it with a cheap motherboard, and on top of that, I upgraded the 1.4 gigahertz Celeron it came with a 1.7 something gigahertz Pentium 4, which greatly increased performance. So, yeah, I'm gonna let the Mini 9 charge for a while, see what happens. And really, people, if I don't answer the first time, I'm not gonna answer. And the voltage went up. It's 15.319 now. So I'll update everybody. Alright, as a close to this segment, or this video in general, I did a whole bunch of research on why it will not give back capacity despite the voltage being, you know, proper. And what I came up with is now more modern laptops, unlike my old ones. Like my first laptop, computer in general, was a Dell Inspiron 7000 that I had purchased on October 21st, 1998. I actually had two batteries for that one, and in fact, one of the two batteries is still functional. And that computer is now 16 years old. And I could plug it in right now, turn it on, wait a little bit. That battery still holds about a good 40% of its original charge, which is impressive. I think that used the flat laminated cells instead of the 18650s. So, no, I did use 18650. Sorry, very tired right now. That one, the second battery that I had, that didn't get used very often because that laptop was massive. It actually had 2 media bays where you could swap out floppy drive and CD-ROM for a zip disk drive, or even have 2 batteries installed in it. That one, the second battery, I had rebuilt no problem. But they actually are building in planned obsolescence in the newer laptops now. When they actually specifically started doing that, I don't know. On this one, it's still 15.264 volts, and I mean, there's good capacity here. I used my 300 Luma, too tired to say the word right, Lumum flashlight, and I used my alligator clips, and since this is a single 18650 flashlight, I connected up to one of the 18650s in this laptop battery, and despite the computer technically saying this battery is no good, the batteries are no good in this laptop, I was able to power my 300 my 300 LM flashlight overnight and high, and there was still the voltage didn't drop down and this is with the battery out of the laptop, making sure it's not charging or anything. And it kept going all night, so about 12 hours. And the battery wasn't down to its quote-unquote dead voltage yet. The 3600 milliamp hour or 3.6 amp hour battery that I had purchased and I use regularly in my flashlight, I can only usually get about 10 hours, maybe 11 if I am lucky, on a full charge. So that shows me that the capacity is still in these batteries. Now, what my research also showed is I found a program. Eventually I'll get that up and link to it up in the information section of this video, which resets the EEPROM that's on the battery management chip. And basically, if you put new cells in there, you have to connect that chip up and reset it. The planned obsolescence, once it detects even a minor loss in capacity, it makes that permanent. You will not get that back. And every time it detects a little bit of loss, they'll keep adding that up, regardless of if it's actual loss or not. In the case of that one, and then I also did the same test with this one. These I only got about 6 or 7 hours out of them. I was expecting these to be quite a bit more toast, just for how this one's been treated and how much older it is as well. And I mean, there's capacity there. It's quite a bit of capacity for it to run that flashlight for that long. It's a bright flashlight. There you have it. So what I'm going to end up doing is the Mini 9 one, I'm going to just use I got the piece of plastic I cut off, put it back on there. I don't know how I'm going to fix it back on yet. That one was really kind of difficult to get off, so I had to cut it. For the big laptop's batteries, I'm going to remove these cells. I have this external, it was an external portable laptop battery, which was 116 watt hours. And I did not use that thing for like 6 years. I actually did have battery failures, some that would read 0 volts. So I pulled all those out, and I kept the ones that were still reading 2.5 or above, fully charged them, tested them, those are all good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these 4, mix it in with those 4, match everything up, and solder it all together, and then I'll have at least a working good external battery. And that one doesn't go by what a battery management system thinks is in the battery. It goes by the voltage of the battery. So when the voltage of the battery hits that magic, most of the time it's 3.2 volts, is when it's considered dead. Then it considers the battery dead. Not, you know, I think you lost a little capacity, so screw you, I want to take that away permanently. Planned obsolescence, there you go. So I'll have another video of me putting that other battery pack back together. And hey, I warned you guys this was going to be a long video, just kind of an exploratory thing, something a little fun. Cheers and have a Merry Christmas, even though that's in another 10 months. Good night.